Well, real happy with the bounce back effort against New Mexico. Thought we played a really good game. Obviously, defensively, hold them to below 50. Had a lot of assisted basket, 19 assists. Always easier when you can get the fast break going to generate offense. Always hard in the half court. So it was good to get the break going again. And now we're going to face a real challenge against Colorado State in Fort Collins this week. They're coming off two hard losses. And I know what that's going to be. It's going to be crazy at Moby Arena. They're going to be desperate, and we have to play desperate too. It's a big conference game on the road, and we have to answer that challenge.
Thank you, Coach. We'll open up for questions, and we'll start with Mark Ziegler.
Coach, when you look at your statistics, home versus road, there's a huge disparity this season. Some seasons there are, some there aren't. What in your mind are some of the reasons why you don't produce or play as well on the road this year?
I think early in the year, Mark, it was kind of being shorthanded. You know, at Michigan, obviously, not having Lamont was critical, the way they pressured us. Utah State, hopefully we got to just chalk that one up to a one-off game. That's what the hope is. If that lingers, it'll be a tough year, but we weren't anywhere near ourselves defensively. So I was less concerned with our offense because we didn't generate anything at the defensive end. So now we have to go on the road. We're going to be on the road now. We're going to see what we're able to do in a hostile environment. And I like our team. I like their toughness. So I think we'll be ready for that challenge, but it will be the ultimate challenge.
Does it surprise you that you've struggled a little bit, at least in the Utah State game, given that you do have a veteran team? Sometimes young teams struggle, and that you have a veteran team.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, Mark, we're still putting all our pieces together. We haven't had the whole team that long. You know, we played 5 weeks without Lamont. We played a major part of the season without Trey. It's not surprising that we haven't hit a rhythm yet. And so now that we're getting all our pieces back, hopefully we can hit that rhythm. There's no guarantee we will, but to have all our pieces and to get them playing together will hopefully allow us to have some kind of momentum now that we can build on, and that's the hope. I know we're running better. That's definitely helped. But in the half court, we've got to be able to produce in the half court. And we haven't been a great offensive rebounding team. I think when we out-rebound our opponents in conference, we've won every game. With the games we've been out-rebounded, we've lost. So obviously rebounding is important to us, and we have to continue to emphasize rebounding and try to get some second-chance opportunities.
The last thing for me, I think, some people may look at this and say, well, you beat them by 30 at home. You should be able to beat them on the road. How much different is going to be trying to win in Moby?
It's a completely different game. Obviously, I've been around this a long time. Remember back to the Big Ten days, we played Purdue when I was a grad assistant in Illinois, and I think got beat by 30, and less than a week later beat them by 30. So with 1 week in between. So it's a different game. Every time you take the floor, momentum is such a big thing. Runs are such a big thing. And so we know Colorado State's good. They were picked to win the league. They suffered a tough loss at Wyoming, had a free throw to win the game, and then suffered a tough loss on the road. But that's this conference. There are no easy games. So we're going into Fort Collins knowing it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to play a great game to win, and hopefully we will be up for that task.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. We'll go to Austin.
Hey, Coach. Considering we struggled in Logan, I'm wondering, are we changing anything preparation or game plan wise just to prepare for another game in altitude?
Just try to get into the game earlier. Try to be defensively engaged earlier. We let Utah State run us at the start. We didn't know who we were guarding. We had confusion at the defensive end. And that's where we hang our hat, at the defensive end. So to get off to a bad defensive start was a little bit concerning. But at the end of the half, it's a 1-point game. With 5 minutes to go, we're shooting 2 free throws to make it a 5-point game. We miss them, they get 2, and all of a sudden they routed us at the end. Kind of like we did at Colorado State. The game was close, a 4-point game at half, I think. And then we got momentum, and we kind of got on a run at the end. So that happens in college basketball. You don't want it to happen to you, but it does every so often, and we can't let that be the norm. We have to come out and be better at the defensive end and not let teams get separation on us.
And then considering that Colorado State, they're a more physical team, in the first matchup there was a combined 46 free throws. I'm just wondering, do you put any extra weight on free throw shooting this week, or does their physicality change the game plan at all?
It all depends on what three guys you have in those striped shirts. Sometimes they let you play, and it can be physical with no calls, and sometimes it can be physical with a lot of free throws. So we'll see who's officiating the game, make adjustments as the game goes on as to what they call, and hopefully get to the foul line and shoot a high percentage.
Thank you.
Thanks, Austin. We'll go to Troy.
Hey, Coach, there was a reference on social media, it looked like from Lamont Butler's maybe father, about something about Lamont playing with a heavy heart last night. Can you share with us what that was about?
I don't want to get into great detail, but Lamont had a death in his family. We're here to support Lamont emotionally, support his family as he deals with it. And I'm going to leave the rest to the Butler family. It's a personal matter and one that we're trying to support them all through.
And, as far as Lamont goes, to his state of mind in playing yesterday, was it something that he felt like he wanted to play because he's wanted to be with his Aztecs family on the floor, like maybe a little bit of a healing process to help him?
I didn't get into great detail. When Lamont said he was wanting to play, we just supported him in that decision. And obviously, everybody deals with grief differently. And we're just trying to help Lamont deal with his.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Troy. We'll go to Lee.
Hey, Brian, can you describe the style of David Roddy?
He's like tight end playing basketball. He's strong. He's physical. He scores at every level. If you're not careful, he makes a three. He attacks the basket and scores at the rim, dunks on you, and then he posts up and shoots the fall away. So he's a three-level scorer. He's hard to guard because he's quick and he's strong. So he's a potential MVP of this conference, depending on how their season shakes out. And there's a lot of basketball to be played. So we'll see where it all settles at the end. I know we have 11 games left to be played, so I don't think we've ever played that many in a month or leading up to the conference tournament. But he'll carve himself out to be a first-team all-conference player, and whether he's MVP or not will depend on how they end their season.
And can you describe what it's like to play in Moby Arena when Colorado State Rams basketball is really playing well?
It's loud. It's imposing. And we've had great success in there. We've played in some of those environments when it's full house and DJ Gay hits a step-back shot to win a game. So it's going to be loud. It's going to be boisterous. And we're going to embrace that moment, embrace the fact that we're drawing people to an arena to watch us play. And we're going to hopefully be up for that challenge where we can compete at a high level in such a raucous environment.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. Well, let's go to John Schaefer.
Dutch, I think I looked up your schedule the last 2 years. After January 30th, you played 7 games each year before the conference tournament. You mentioned playing 11. Still, if you added in last night, you'll play 12 after January 30th. What type of challenge is that on your team?
Well, first of all, it's physically challenging, but we're not professional athletes. We're student athletes. So travel time, miss class, trying to stay up on your academics as you prepare for games. It's a challenge for all of us. And like I said, I think people lose sight. Well, they're young kids. They can play games. They're young kids, but they're student athletes. They're not professional athletes. So it's taxing at both fronts to stay ahead academically as you prepare to play multiple games in this month. So it's not going to be easy on any of them. It's not easy on the coaching staff, but it's the task at hand, and we have to deal with it as best we can.
And then does it put you in a spot where it could be almost a disadvantage heading into the Mountain West tournament, having to play all those games, especially late? I think you played 3 games in the last 6 days before the conference tournament.
Yeah, we have to stay healthy because that's a taxing schedule on anybody. And then we know how important the Mountain West tournament's going to be, and that's going to be a battle. So to play all those games and then travel right to Vegas and jump into a conference tournament is not going to be easy on anybody. And obviously, we have the most games of anyone to make up. So it's going to be harder on the Aztecs than it is on anybody else in this conference.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Back to Troy.
Hey, Coach, I had the pleasure of watching Wyoming and Colorado State go to overtime in that thrilling game yesterday. And I'm watching that game and watching you play Utah State and Boise State. I'm wondering, is the Mountain West Conference as strong as it's been maybe in the last decade, do you think?
Yeah, the metrics bear it out. I mean, these are good teams. Wyoming has got a high metric. Boise, obviously, high metric. Colorado State and the Aztecs both are pretty good metric-wise. And there's better teams that have struggled a little bit. Utah State is playing good basketball. What they've done their last 2 games to us, and then follow that up with the win they had, double digits against Nevada, they're playing good basketball. And just go down the list. We know Nevada's dangerous. Fresno's having a good year. So hopefully it's a case where everybody recognizes how good it is and we get multiple bids. Hopefully it's not a case where we beat each other up and at the end of the day we get 1 bid or 2 bids. So this is a very good league, very competitive, and hopefully we can get multiple teams into the tournament when the season ends.